of perfectly sane and reliable people have been involved in this flying saucer.
For whatever reason, the big science journals don't want to publish their findings.
Dr. Reed is a famous investigator of psychic phenomena, but disbelievers that the Jew might interfere with my investigation.
The term flying saucer has become a household
There's a
word.
multitude of theories and explanations for the mysterious lights and unexplained phenomenon witnessed by millions of people around the world every year.
Since 1948, one publication has continued to bring news about paranormal phenomena and unexplained events. That magazine is Fate. And in that tradition of providing true reports of the strange and unknown, this is Fate Magazine Radio. And now, coming to you live from WGOG Digital Broadcasting, your host of Fate Magazine Radio, Todd Bates.
And a good evening, one and all. Welcome, Fate Radio live on this beautiful December the 29th, 2017. The days are numbered. My goodness, this is actually the last program of the year. And welcome, everybody. Now, first I want to definitely thank each of you for adjusting to the schedule change. We're actually running a week ahead of schedule, which is great. And, of course, our guest tonight is the one and only Janice Carlson, psychic medium, wonderful individual. Wonderful individual. We're going to get her on here in just a moment. I want to give you a brief announcement about the chat room. We made some updates to that. And, of course, you can listen live at fatemagradio.com and letstalkradio.net. Now, what you're going to see down there is a little button that's going to say live chat. It's real simple. Click that live chat button, and the chat room's going to open right up. You can log in through Facebook, Twitter as a guest. We're also going to be taking your live calls here in a little while. We're going to open up the lines after the first break. We're going to get some of your predictions. Now, with those, it's going to be future predictions only for the year 2018. That is why Janice is here. She's going to give us some predictions. I mean, what's going to go on in 2018? 2017 was just a massive, quick blur. Was it a good year for you? Was it what's called a bad year? What's 2018 hold? That's what we're going to find out tonight, because Janice is amazing with these predictions. That's why we're very blessed to have her on the program. And just to give you a little bit about her here. Now, she holds a bachelor's of science degree in communications and secondary education, of course. And after years spent as an advertising copywriter, she authored 15 novels for New York publishing houses under her fiction writing pen name, Ashlyn Price. Then in 1992, Janice accidentally, and we're going to get into that in detail, discovered her ability to communicate with the dead. Now, since that time, she has done thousands of afterlife communications sessions for clients throughout the United States with a money-back guarantee of contact. You can't beat that. Her recent book, Soul Sensing, How to Communicate with Your Dead Loved Ones, received a glowing 4-star review from the San Francisco Book Review, as well as raves from the scores of radio and podcast hosts throughout America. In addition to being a psychic, Janice is one of very few mediums in the United States who offers a money-back guarantee of contact with deceased loved ones and friends. Welcome to Fate Radio, Janice.
Thank you, Todd, for having me on. I'm excited.
And you know, that's amazing. Most, you offer a money-back guarantee of contact. Now, that, to me, shows ironclad right there.
Yeah, I guess it's what I would want as a customer. Were I going to have a media session from somebody, I would like to be able to say, I don't think that you're bringing through information that came from that individual, or that I don't recognize the identifying information that's coming through. Because very often on a medium session, the deceased loved one will tell me details about themselves, whether or not they wore glasses, what color their hair was, how they died, things like that. And so you want to listen and really hear if what that medium is telling you is accurate about that individual before you get started with other messages.
Well said, and I agree, because there are a lot of charlatans out there. There really are, and that is sad. That happens in every field. You get the good and the bad with that, but You said that you accidentally discovered your abilities. Kind of go into detail on how all of this happened, if you would, Janice.
Well, I had several novels that I needed to promote, and the author ends up doing an awful lot of the promotion in the book world, and so I hired a woman to do my graphics for my sell pieces and things for the books. And when I went over to her house, she was freelancing out of her house, I said, I've seen this place before. I've been in this townhouse before. And I asked who had sold it to her, and it was an old friend of mine, so I had it right. Because many of those townhouses in a row can kind of all look the same. And not remembering the actual number on the place, I just said, this looks like where my friend Elaine used to live. And so it turned out, that Elaine had lived there, and this graphics artist, her name was Jody. I'm still good friends with her. I was just meeting her then, and as I walked in to her place, I said, I really like that you've taken the decor in a different direction to Southwestern. I like what you've done here. And she said, I love this new place, but I wish the previous owner had told me it was haunted. And I was so surprised to hear that, because I'd been up to the place several times when Elaine owned it, and no discussion ever occurred about any strange goings on at the place or any disturbances and so forth. So as I walked farther into Jody's place, I said, you know what? I'm getting the oddest vibes that picture over on your piano there. That's who's haunting you, but it doesn't feel like haunting exactly. It feels like visitation. And she said, that's my dead mother. She died 8 years ago in a horseback riding accident.
Wow.
And so as we talked about it more, this information started to pop into my brain about all sorts of details. That someone named Pat was with her when she died, and that turned out to be the aunt that was with her at the time, and just all sorts of information that I couldn't possibly know. So I have to tell you, I was as surprised as Jody was, actually. But she had the good sense, or maybe just because she wanted so much to talk to her mother and have closure, she had the good sense to just keep me talking about it instead of freaking out or thinking that it was all some sort of hoax or something. So she kept me talking, and this woman just kept talking through me. It felt like it went on for an hour or so. I'm sure it wasn't that long, but it really helped her to have that closure with her mother, because she had not seen her right before she died. Her mother had gone to Montana to visit this Aunt Pat, and they had gone horseback riding, and Jody was not expected to come out for a day or two after that, and so Jody felt really awful. So did the other members of her family, that they didn't get to say goodbye to her, because as with all accident victims, you just don't really get a chance to. You don't know it's the last time you'll ever see them, and so it was very poignant, and I saw how much it helped her. And I was very struck by that, too, as I drove home. Not only was I stunned because I didn't know what a medium was. And this was back before, people like Sylvia Brown were on TV. And so people didn't really talk about mediumship unless you were, in a new age community of some kind. And,
right.
I really didn't know how to figure out what had happened, except to say that it felt maybe like a gypsy seance or something. I had just never ever witnessed even a medium working. But I had a couple parents who died before, I was 10 years old. My biological mother and my adoptive father both died before I was 10. And so I realized in retrospect that probably I got kind of hardwired to heaven when that happened. And I kind of thought everybody talked to their deceased loved ones, too. Like, not out loud, but just that they had some line of communication with their loved ones who had passed. And I realized that wasn't always the case either. And so that's what inspired me to write Soul Sensing, my first nonfiction book, and really talk about what happened that day and why I think it's so important to talk to a medium when you're in a state of grief. And actually, psychologists now, especially grief counselors, are referring their clients to mediums for at least one session to help assuage grief a little bit and get rid of deal with those unfinished business things. Because again, many of us don't get a chance to say goodbye to a loved one.
You know, and you're exactly right. Some of the deaths, a lot of them are so traumatic and so sudden that there is no closure. It's everyone's in shock. So doing the medium work, that has got to be exhausting. I mean, the way they come through you, does it, are you all of the clairs? Are you clairvoyant, clairsentient, clairaudient? How does all that work with you?
Well, I think we all have some of those abilities. I tend to be more clairaudient. I tend to hear things and then convey them. I'm not a channeler, and I think that would be particularly exhausting, where you actually kind of take on the characteristics of the deceased loved one and speak the way they did and that type of thing. That I don't channel. I'd love to. It's just not something I've developed yet. But I just get the messages, clairaudient messages primarily, and some images. Clairvoyance in the case of mediumship is, of course, kind of defined as seeing images that the dead wish to instill, so that you can then refer to them and help convey messages that way. So, for instance, if I'm talking to a deceased pet, very often a dog or a cat who's passed will tell me what color they were, and they'll tell me what color their collar was, and their favorite toy, and sometimes their names, if I can get all of their names. Sometimes I'll only get part of a name. For instance, with Jody, I kept saying, I kept hearing something with an "een" sound on it, like E-E-N. Okay. And she said, and I said, is it Darlene? Or she said, no, it's Geraldine. Her name was Geraldine.
Wow.
So, it's interesting. Each person you communicate with has a slightly different way of communicating, so you have to kind of first get in tune with them a little,
So you have to know, you definitely have to get in touch, and like you said, you have that connection with heaven, which I like how you put that. That was well said. And one question I have for you is the difference. What's the difference between being visited by a spirit and perhaps being haunted by one?
Hauntings are usually negative experiences. They are meant to scare you for a number of reasons. It can be a turf war with a spirit who does not want to leave a setting and is going to make you miserable there or too scared to stay. Whereas a visitation often will leave you with as though you'd kind of been touched by an angel. I mean, you will have tingly feelings often around your shoulders or the back of your neck. You'll feel as though someone benevolent is speaking to you or trying to communicate. It'll be more of a positive thing. Our deceased loved ones really do not want to scare us.
Which makes sense. Yeah. I mean, that's something, and they're probably not going to come to visit until maybe we're prepared for it. Or is there a good time for them to come visit?
Well, they will come to visit often when we are receptive, and sometimes people can be in such a state of grief that they can't receive messages. They're so shut down that they can't receive them, and they're so desperate to get a message that they're almost blocking it somehow. I'm not quite sure how that works, but those are the times when a medium can really help, because I don't have any personal attachment to this deceased loved one of yours, so I'm not blocking the communication with profound grief or any other emotion for that matter.
Okay, because people like me, Janice, I mean, I'm as sensitive as a brick. I usually say I really don't have those kinds of feelings when it comes to any psychic.
Know thyself, Yeah.
When it comes to psychic ability, sometimes I go with my gut feeling, which may be a little bit of being intuitive. I'm still not for sure about that. But as far as the brain works, the right and left brains play. How do they play in the afterlife communication?
Well, your right brain is so key. It's very key to this kind of communication. And unfortunately, most of us have to spend most of our days in our left brain, doing left brain things like in a left brain world, like driving a car, brushing your teeth, doing your job, generally speaking. Unless it's a creative job, it's probably a left brain job. And creativity is not something most of us indulge in except when we're children. And that's why children more often are, one of the reasons why they're visited by deceased loved ones more often than adults are. But getting into your right brain means creating something. And I don't care if it's cake decorating or jewelry or whatever it might be, just that it's something of your own composition. When we talk about the arts and the right brain, I'm not talking about performing arts where you memorize a script and play a part in a play, or where you sing music that somebody else composed. It has to actually be creative, where you're actually creating it. And then you're really in your right brain, and the more you're in your right brain, the more intuitive you become and the more connected you become, apparently, to heaven. I'm not sure why, but that seems to be what happens.
And it's funny you mention that, because I live quite a bit in my right brain. I'm always doing, creating, moving things, shaking things. And to find, maybe I'm just in denial, Janice. Maybe that's what it is I haven't discovered it yet. I haven't quite discovered the ability that may be within.
Right. And I think, again, there has to be a need. There may have to be a need to talk to somebody on the other side, too. A deep desire to do so.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. And just to prepare everyone here, what we have coming up at right after the break, we're going to get into some predictions. Janice is here to give 2018 predictions for you fine folks. And also, second hour, we're going to be taking your live calls. Now, with these calls, these are future predictions for you as well. What does your year hold? What does 2018 hold for you? Call in, ask a question about that, and Janice will gladly answer that for you. You can even post them in chat, and to jump into chat is real simple. Just go to fatemagradio.com or letstalkradio.net. Either one of those websites, they have a chat room in there. And what you're going to see is a live chat button. That's going to be down there in the lower right-hand corner. All you do is simply click that, log in through Facebook, Twitter as a guest. You can even register for the chat room free of charge and post your question in there. We can read those. Janice will take those as well. If you're a little bit too shy to call in, we understand that. We understand that. And the phone number is going to be posted in chat once we open up the lines. And, of course, I'll give that on the air as well. So stay tuned. You're listening to Fate Radio Live right here on letstalkradio.net. And be sure and check it out, fatemagradio.com. New website's up. Stay tuned. We'll be back just a moment. More with Janice Carlson coming up. Of course, we didn't invent great sound. We perfected it. WGOG Digital Broadcasting. Let's talk.
Since 1948, Fate magazine has delivered a one-of-a-kind reading experience, covering everything from psychics, UFOs, paranormal investigations, and more. To subscribe, visit fatemag.com or call 828-702-3032. That's 828-702-3032. Subscribe and find your true reports of the strange and unknown at fatemag.com.
Haunted, a psychic story by author and radio host Ariel Grace. This is not your average book of hauntings. Haunted, a psychic story is written from a psychic perspective and contains true stories and some handy tips. Written in 3 parts, Haunted, a Psychic Story contains chilling adventures, advice from the archangels, and helpful tips used by Ariel Grace to clear haunted homes around the globe. Haunted, a Psychic Story is available on Amazon, or you can download straight to your Kindle. Haunted, a Psychic Story by Ariel Grace. Get your copy today. Nothing feels better than a good cleanse to wash away the day. If you think that refreshes you, then experience the ultimate cleanse with Soaps by Susan. Cleansing Spiritually LLC uses only pharmaceutical-grade essential oils, all-natural shea butter, coconut oils, and vitamin E, and tailored toward the ultimate cleanse. Susan uses a skin-safe fragrance with an aroma that brings a smile to your face and takes you to that happy place within. Each bar is handcrafted and custom to order, so it not only cleanses the soul, but also matches your room's decor. Cleansing Spiritually soap makes great gifts, or you can just indulge yourself for a spiritual cleansing you'll never forget. You want some now, don't you? We thought so. Contact Susan Todd to place your custom order at facebook.com/spiritually. Don't settle for clean. Get spiritually clean at facebook.com/spiritually.
Talk is our business, and business is good. WGOG Clearwater. Let's talk.
.22 minutes past the hour, Fate Radio Live, letstalkradio.net, and fatemagradio.com, of course. Both of those websites have the chat rooms. Those of you just joining us, you're wondering, oh my goodness, I'm late, I missed the first part. No, you didn't. Don't worry, we've got you covered. Everything's being archived, and you can listen to Fate Radio later on iHeartRadio, on our iHeartRadio channel, as well as iTunes, Google Play Music, and you can find all of those links on the websites, letstalkradio.net or fatemagradio.com. Either one of those outlets will get you exactly where you need to go. That way, you don't miss it. And if you have a reading coming up later on, Janice is going to do some future predictions for you fine folks calling in later in the second hour. So don't worry. That's going to be recorded for you as well. Everyone wants to hear the reading afterwards for clarification. Don't worry. We've got you covered. And, of course, we're speaking with Janice Carlson. 2018 predictions. And that's what's coming up here this segment. This is going to be an amazing thing. And of course, on the break, and that's why I love breaks, is you kind of get that off-air chatter a little bit. We were just, Janice and I were discussing the years past, 2017. And for me personally, that was a wicked year, but it was also a good year. It was a building year. It was a moving year. We actually moved from Chicago here to Florida, so that was a big move. And it's a lot warmer here, we've noticed. So that's and
wow.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot warmer here. So that was another drastic change right there, Janice. So that was another good. So 2017 was a pretty good year, and it's ending on a great note. And 2018 is right around the corner, just a couple days away. And here we are, the last program of the year. So this is the amazing part of it. Now, the predictions, the 2018 predictions here, Janice is going to give these to us. And first of all, Janice, how did these come to you? Is this spirit talking to you? How did these predictions come to you?
Well, it's spirit in part, but I believe in using as many tools as you can get a hold of when it comes to something like predictions on a world level or a country level, rather than just predicting for an individual. So one of the things I do, which is odd, I know, is I will look at what the Chinese New Year is, like what animal it is. And that kind of, for me, is a starting point. And I will also look at sort of traditional Western astrology, too, and see if any of what I'm reading resonates for me. And then I start to build on that. I start to go inside my own head more and start to add some of my own visions to it.
Okay.
And I say the Chinese zodiac is kind of an odd place to start, but I figured, it's something that's just been around for probably thousands of years. And I just figure anything that's been around for a really long time, there's something to it generally. Same with feng shui and those practices. If they've been around a long, long time, then there's usually something to kernels of truth to be taken from them. And for instance, I asked you about your 2017, but partially I asked you about it because 2017 was an unusual year for a lot of Americans, in part because we're not used to a news cycle that is as rapid and dramatic as the one we've had this year, no matter what channel you're listening to. And some people came away from that feeling kind of exhausted, to tell you the truth, and maybe jaded, and some very much on edge. And so I kind of take that into consideration too, is what's the general mood I'm feeling from the populace. Okay. But when you look at something like the Chinese zodiac for the year of 2018, you're talking about the dog, you know, and most of us are pretty comfortable with dogs. You know, we might not know what a year of a rooster means exactly because that was 2017. But with the dog, if you've ever had a pet dog or known somebody with a dog, you kind of know that they're sort of a fixture in houses, and their behavior usually is pretty predictable. And so there's something sort of comforting to me about moving into the year of the earth dog. There are different kinds of animals in the zodiac, the Chinese zodiac. There's wood and fire and gold and water, but this particular year is the year of the wood dog. The earth dog. And so we're really talking about really down-to-earth needs, concerns, meeting those needs and concerns, and getting to a point where you can kind of curl up in a ball like the family dog and kind of smack your lips a little bit with satisfaction at the end of the day. Just getting comfortable. You know, you talked about your 2017 being a little bumpy because, you know, you move for openers. So when you change your location like that from a cold climate to a warm one, it's bound to kind of feel like upheaval. You know, and it's bound to take you a while to get kind of used to that. But 2018 is more of a year when we're going to see an emphasis upon communications and work responsibilities. It's going to be a serious year and a dutiful year. And there won't be a great deal to laugh at. And most of the diversion that we seek won't necessarily be entertainment so much as relaxation. So again, that may be the weariness that you see coming out of 2017. When you have for instance, a president who moves at the rate that this one does, then of course the press cycles are quicker too. And if people are feeling kind of exhausted by all of that, this will be a year when they lean back a little bit and just enjoy relaxation and enjoy things that are fairly predictable, like nature, communing with nature, and methods of relaxation like yoga and that type of thing will become quite popular. And also, the quality to look for in the coming year in yourself and others is patience. This is going to be a year when patience is the quality that's going to help you get through the year the very best. Whatever patience means to you, like counting to 10 before you lose your temper or whatever, because the year of the dog is not going to be a year where we want a lot of rash behavior. Okay. Rash behavior is going to be a problem for most people this year. And so taking your time, cooling down, and going about things in a very methodical, thought-out way is your best bet. Now, those in high political positions are, because of the year of the dog, are going to be facing some not only legal problems but outright rejection of their leadership in the coming year. And when you talk about politics, I will say this briefly. This rejection looks to me like it'll come from Congress and from the majority of the American people. There's going to be this strong social conscience out there that'll be driving you, and it'll be very surprising to see how it drives the people around you, almost like they're pre-programmed to respond in this way. So are you wondering anything about any of that part of what I said?
Yeah, the politics, and I know there's two things you don't discuss, but it seems to be a battle with our current president. 2018, you said it's going to be more laid back, relaxed. Is there going to be more peace? I guess is what I'm getting at. At the end of the day, is there going to be more peace throughout the world than what there is now? Right now, there's a little bit of chaos. Yeah,
there is chaos. I know a lot of people are very concerned about North Korea, but I don't personally see a war with North Korea or things escalating to the point where people really need to worry about it. I'm not seeing war heavily indicated here. That's not to say that there can't be attacks, and certainly we've seen terrorist attacks all throughout this year.
Yes.
Part of that fatigue that I was talking about earlier came from things like not only the news cycle, but also terrorist attacks, and then domestic shootings, mass shootings, and then on top of that, a bunch of hurricanes that were very, very serious, and then kind of ending the season with fires, on the West Coast. And again, I'd really urge people to be very patient with yourself if you're feeling fatigue over this. It's a normal response to disasters and catastrophes, and just for everyone to slow down a little bit, because one of the things that's indicated in the year of the dog, the wood dog especially, are stupid avoidable accidents. And the more people rush around, the more likely they are to have accidents, whether it's in a car or on foot, and so it's really a year, like I said, when you need to be patient, but you also really need to be careful, because it's one of those times when limbs can be threatened by accidents. A good example of this is that my husband was rushing around trying to get some housework done outside the house this last fall, and he fell and tore one of his fingernails off when he fell.
Ouch.
And so I mean, we're talking about injuries to limbs and things like that in the coming year because you're rushing. Plain and simple. He was not in a very good pair of shoes at the time. He had like some stupid, really big flip-flops on or something. And if you don't, you get more dehydrated as the day goes on, and you can trip and kill yourself essentially. And so I'm just telling people to kind of slow down. This is one of those years where it really will pay off if you're careful. And more careful than is usual.
I think that's great advice. And the way you explained last year with the media circus and the exhaustion, the fatigue, now it makes sense, because it seemed like one thing happened after another, one tragedy after another, then this happened, then this, and this. And that's mentally exhausting to the point where most of the population doesn't even want to watch the news anymore, and that's why.
Right, and give yourself permission not to. Just give yourself permission not to once in a while, because if it's really serious, you will hear about it sooner or later. That's what I tell myself. If this is really serious, I will hear about it in an hour or two. But you don't need to stay tuned in all the time. I'm just not foreseeing things that are so big that you really need to stay tuned in all the time. And you really are being taken literally for a ride by that roller coaster of ups and downs. And so sometimes I notice that when we go on vacation now, we just don't pay much attention to the media. And I think it's because we just need that rest,
I agree.
But just bear in mind how exhausting that is, and how much of your time it's taking up. and kind of pace yourself. Get back in touch again with nature. That's so crucial right now. Spending some time outside and kind of like your dog. I mean, I have had years of dogs, years and years of dogs here, and we've had probably 9 through the years. And they do take some time to just sort of lay out on the hill out back and watch the sun go by and that type of thing. And I think in a dog year, you're well served to do that sometimes, to kind of lay in a hammock or whatever. These are going to be, this is going to be a year when people like nurses, clergy, counselors, and professors will be the people we treasure the most. The working people who their cornerstone is the value of honesty and accountability to their patients and their customers and so forth. And so that is going to become sort of a currency to us, is the value of honesty, and the line between lies and truth is going to become more reestablished because people will demand that. They will want to know objectively what is the truth about certain matters. And it's also a good year for health for most of us, and except for those with respiratory problems. Then, and I think that may have something to do with air quality. We'll have to wait and see why that is. It could be anything from, again, wildfires to volcanic eruptions, distant ones somewhere. So that's something to keep in mind, that overall most of us will enjoy pretty good health this year, but it's really important to slow down and to get plenty of sleep, so that, again, you're not accident prone because of sleep deprivation.
So we can start that vicious cycle. And basically, so far, what you're saying with 2018 is to slow down, take some time, smell the flowers perhaps, get outside, get regrounded, walk barefoot in the grass if you can, those kinds of things. Yep. Take the time, because 2017 exhausted us so much.
It did. And you don't have to live on somebody else's schedule. You don't have to live on a news cycle just because the leader of your, country or whoever, the leadership in Washington or whatever, is taking things at a very quick pace does not mean you need to do that. You can allow yourself time and downtime to just digest and process your day. Enjoy your kids, enjoy your pets, that kind of thing, yep. I'm also seeing that the southeastern part of the United States is likely to be unlucky this year, and I that's sad, because you just told me move to Florida, but that's kind of too bad to be having to tell you that. And that must sound kind of rich from somebody who is sitting right now in 4 below weather in Minnesota, but that's a different kind of crisis, though. And we expect it, and we know how to live with it in a way. Hurricanes, that's a whole nother ball game. You get time to prepare for it, but it absolutely can be shattering to go through that and to lose your home and witness what we're seeing with Puerto Rico now. I remember before the second storm hit Puerto Rico, starting to weep when I thought about Puerto Rico, and I'm not a weeper, but that's when I knew things were going to be very bad for them, because I'll start to cry for no apparent reason, and that was the island that really concerned me, and now I'm seeing why. But we could again be heading into some heavy weather for the southeastern United States. And those in the following fields of work can expect some very good profits this year: writers, designers, artists, logistical specialists, people in transportation, and people in thermal energy.
Wow.
So it'll be a good year for those folks, for sure, profit-wise, and just satisfaction-wise. And then overall, I think this is really a year that when you're slowing down, that you're focusing more, you're determining a clear direction for yourself, and you're going to be able, one good thing about this year is it's just going to buzz with energy, but it's going to be much more directed energy, much more positive energy in regard to getting things done. So be sure to keep your thoughts positive, and as I was saying before, to surround yourself when you can with beautiful settings, especially in nature.
So nature is going to be the key here, and this is something that a lot of us have lost touch with entirely. There are so many people, Janice, and I know all of you listening can definitely contest to this, that everyone is just stuck in some kind of keyboarded social world or on their phones, their faces. And I was speaking with a guest just last week about this as well, is people aren't taking the time to meet each other face to face, the handshakes, the smiles, the nods, the actually taking time. I mean, I'm sure you've noticed this as well, and hopefully 2018 people slow down enough to do this. I try, where you're walking down the street, you walk right past someone, and you casually say, "Hi, how are you?" But yet you don't stop to take time to listen. You notice that? It just seems like a casual thing. Grade you, and then you're gone. Maybe we should take some time to listen next year.
Yep, absolutely. Because many of us are programmed with certain things this year. We'll just be kind of programmed en masse to demand truth, for instance, and to demand that things either be real news or not be out there being touted all the time. But what I mean by that is that people don't want to tune into the news and hear about stuff that really isn't news. I'm not saying that it isn't true. I'm just saying that it might be hype or conjecture or an editorial, and it's being presented as news. And so people are getting kind of weary of that too.
Yeah, it's actually, I know two friends that have literally left the country. They have moved because of our media. Because of the media and the way it's portrayed. They can't keep up with it. It's depressing. It's not news. It's yellow journalism, so to speak. And they left. So hopefully 2018 this changes. Do you see this making some kind of spiral to where the media is going to maybe calm down and put a few puff pieces in there that people really need, instead of having all of this? I know fear sells, and they do this to sell advertising and so forth.
And if it bleeds, it leads, and all of that. But the fact is that it's just terribly depressing, and it's not good for the overall spirit of the nation. It's just not good stuff to be feeding your psyche all the time.
They have to understand what this is doing to people. And hopefully 2018 is a turnaround for that, because it's taking its toll. Just like you said, 2017 exhausted us completely. In 2018, we just need to take a nap and get in touch with one another, right?
And see what resonates for you as being true. Do you know what I mean by that? By that doing what I call a gut check as to whether or not this is something that you really need to worry about, or if it's just hype to get you to come back after the commercial. Yeah,
and you are actually speaking to the king of worriers, so I definitely can relate to that.
Yeah. I mean, I just, hate seeing people just beside themselves about issues that probably are not going to get that bad. On the other hand, you want to be aware enough that you do something if you need to, if you're called to. But I understand what they're talking about, leaving the country, because it's like you're almost being played like a piano by the media, and it's just so counterproductive and time-consuming.
Yeah, it's just not a good thing all around. And what we're going to do, we're going to skip off here to a quick break, Janice. When we come back, more 2018 predictions. And those of you just joining us, don't worry. Second hour, we're going to take your live calls and see what your future holds. We're going to do a prediction for you. Janice is. And, of course, like I said before, there's not going to be any kind of medium work or anything when you call. So what it's going to be is a prediction for 2018 for you personally. What does your year look like next year? New Year's right around the corner. You're listening to Fate Radio Live. on letstalkradio.net and fatemagradio.com. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
We pause for station identification. It's the little cinder block building on the north side of town with the towel behind it. WGOG DB Clearwater. Let's talk.
Depression, anxiety, and insomnia can cause a lot of heartache and stress in a family or group of friends. And those heartaches only multiply when the symptoms are a byproduct of a bigger health concern, like cancer, PTSD, Parkinson's, or drug and alcohol dependency. And in the past, treatments for depression, anxiety, and insomnia were only moderately effective. But now there's a new therapy called Nexalin. Nexalin is a simple medical device that stimulates the midbrain. Nexalin is safe and an effective FDA-cleared drug-free treatment for depression, anxiety, and insomnia with no serious side effects. And Nexalin is proven effective in reducing symptoms in over 80% of patients treated. For information and a free confidential consultation, call 847-865-3216 or visit NexalinRelief.com. That's 847-865-3216. Or visit NexalinRelief.com.
Grow your business. At Signorama, we offer customized solutions for signs, branding, marketing, and advertising. We have a full range of custom sign and graphic services to meet your needs, build your brand, and create your image. Look around and you'll see how our specialists help businesses enhance their visibility and get noticed. Let us work with you to understand your unique marketing goals and help you reach them. Signorama, the way to grow your business. Meet with an expert at your local Signorama or visit us online anytime.
The Haunted Voices series by author Claire Jim. Not your average romance novels, the Haunted Voices series intertwines romance with ghost stories. Like an addiction counselor and a security guard struggle to free a little girl and her father. Two lost spirits trapped inside an abandoned mental hospital and spirits of the heart. Want more? Then read about a hunky professor in a tweed jacket, a cheeky goth chick, and a pipe-smoking, book-hurling ghost. Put them all together in an antiquated library and, well, you get the book Phantom Traces. Or read about a psychic interior designer who reluctantly agrees to renovate a sexy investor's abandoned hotel in Hearts Unlocked, winner of the 2016 New York Book Festival. The Haunted Voices series by Claire Jim. Buy wherever books are sold or purchase at ClaireJim.com. When it absolutely, positively has to be the best. WGOG DB Clearwater. Let's talk.
.48 minutes past the hour. Todd Bates here with Fate Radio live on letstalkradio.net and, of course, fatemagradio.com. You can tune into either one of those locations, and that's where you're going to find the live chat room. You're going to need to get in there. That's where the number is going to be posted for you to call in second hour for your future reading. Your prediction for 2018 with our guest Janice Carlson this evening. Amazing predictions she's given so far. These are just mind-blowing, and they make sense. Now, to get in the chat, it's simple. Log in through Facebook, Twitter as a guest. It's social media friendly, so go in there and be social. There's some great people in there. And if you're a little shy, you don't want to call in later, that's completely understood. Janice can take your question from chat or Twitter abroad. I've got the Twitter feed up. If you guys want to go ahead and tweet it, we can do that. Just include your first name and your just a general prediction we're going to give you there for the year 2018 for you. So that's just a special gift to have on this December 29th. I mean, the new year is right around the corner. And what we've heard so far, for those of you just joining us, is that next year, so far, Janice has predicted that we need to slow down. We need to get back in touch with nature a little bit. Relax. Because 2017 was a massive year. It was a year of movement. It was, the media was taking us on a roller coaster, up and down, up and down. So let's take some time to relax next year and it's going to be all for the better. And of course, those of us in the southeast, we have some unluckiness coming our way in the means of weather. Now, of course, we survived Irma last year. That wasn't as bad as we thought, believe it or not. And the weather coming through here, of course, Puerto Rico, Key West, they were hit with that last year. And more weather is being predicted for the southeast coming this way next year, according to Janice. So this is some amazing things so far, and we have just a little bit of time here before the top of the hour. So welcome back, Janice, and some more predictions. What else you see coming up here in 2018?
Again, I think that it'll be overall a time for when people are going to really insist on being pretty grounded and not wanting to feel like they're flying in 90 directions at once. You can be very productive in the coming year if you keep moving, if you keep doing things. But I think you need a designated time to punch out at the end of the day, whether it's 8 or 9, go sit in front of the TV, go read or something. But you don't have to rush. I do see danger in rushing. Whether it's with transportation or people on foot or whatever, that would be a year. This will be a year when rashness and rushing are really going to be quite detrimental to almost everyone. And again, if you're not sure about the coming year, think about the average sort of pet dog, how they spend their day, how they commune with nature, the things that they take joy in are fairly simple. Toys and and companionship and that sort of thing, and kind of keep that in mind for your own personal lives.
And, I think we've all said that throughout our lives. It's a dog's life. I wish I had a dog's life. Now we have 12 months to embark on that and to practice that.
Well, when you look at 2017, it was the year of the rooster, and it kind of felt like death by 1,000 pecks, actually. The beak of the rooster felt to me like the most important thing, and it's just been people kind of pecking at each other. And so this is a year when people may kind of become more insular, just for their own sanity, and stay closer to friends and relatives and to things that they're comfortable with. So it's certainly a year to get to do what the Danish call Hague, or I'm probably pronouncing it wrong. Hygge is, I think, how they pronounce it. It's spelled Hyge, and it's about being comfortable, being cozy, doing things that self-nurture, and checking with yourself to see if this is one of those days when you need some self-nurturing, whether it's going to be just to go have a massage somewhere or a quick drink with a friend or just something that kind of indulges you a little bit. Basically, it's about self-nurturing, a lot of it. Because dogs really do take care of themselves, and they're certainly aware of the pack, and they're certainly capable of moving in a unified thing. And I think many of us are going to be very surprised at how unified the American people are going to be in what they demand and what they protest and all of that. We're going to see an awful lot of unification going on.
And I like that. We definitely need some unity. There's so much separation you have, and that's one of the things I wanted to ask you was about the separation itself, the segregation, the race wars and all of these different things that happened in 2017, even a little bit in 2016 as well. How does that look in 2018? Does that calm down a little bit? Do we actually come together a little bit more?
Yeah, and you're going to be, again, very surprised at what a lockstep people will be in regard to fighting things that are considered unjust, untrue, all of those kinds of things.
So it's
they're going to move almost as though they've been programmed by something. But it's just it's gut checks. It's their gut check saying, I need to stand up right now, and I need to fight for what I know is right. And the unification that comes from that will be, I think, fairly surprising to most people.
Okay, because I didn't know if this was, perhaps the year that would change a little bit, maybe calm down, but it's still an ongoing issue even going into next year.
It is, but it's peaceful. It's not particularly violent. It's more about integrity. I guess one example would be that many of the people I've run into that are collecting for, can I remember this? The Salvation Army.
Mm-hmm.
How they do that at Christmas and so forth.
Oh, sure.
They're saying that they're just getting amazing amounts this year compared to other years. People are much more likely to stop and give $1, $5, a few quarters, whatever. That was very, very much increased this year. And so it's not like all these strangers consulted each other outside the Target store or whatever and decided to give. It's that they're all feeling some sort of inner push to be more generous, perhaps to food shelves, to come to the aid of someone who's being persecuted, a variety of those kinds of things.
Okay. And it's so the violence it's going to calm down, but yes. Yet it's going to be more maybe meaningful. Maybe it's going to help build. Is that what you're saying? It's I mean, there's going to be some little fights here and there, little racial type of tension. And, but
but they're more like dust-ups, and actually the majority is going to coalesce more. In other words, people who may have been on the wrong side of an issue will switch sides. So you're seeing more of a majority moving in a certain direction.
Okay, phenomenal. And on that note, what we're going to do is we're going to take our top of the hour news break, and we come back. We're going to open up the lines for you folks to call in, give your predictions. Of course, Janice is going to continue with some predictions. I'm also going to ask her some more questions here, too. And you may be surprised by some of the answers. That's the amazing things that we're going to be discussing. Second hour coming up, so stay tuned. More Fate Radio on the way. Right now, here's your latest news. Join us in chat. Let'sTalkRadio.net, FateMagRadio.com. We'll be right back.
We didn't invent great sound. We perfected it. WGOG Digital Broadcasting. Let's talk.
Brutal cold for New Year's Eve in New York City. I'm Carmen Roberts, Fox News. Revelers in Times Square better be prepared for the cold. Forecasters say it will only be 10 degrees when the ball drops.
That means the wind chill is going to be below zero, and people are out here for hours, sometimes 12 plus hours, trying to get the best spot to see that ball drop. Mayor Bill de Blasio was asked about the weather yesterday. This is what he had to say.
I admire people who want to stand there for many hours in the cold. That takes a special personality. But the fact is they will absolutely be safe, as you can hear from the preparations. But I'd say this much. If you're going to venture out, bundle up, wear long underwear, bring hand warmers, all those basics. Take the weather very seriously.
If the forecast holds true, this will be the second coldest New Year's Eve in New York City's history.
Fox's Brian Janice in Times Square. Workplace violence south of Los Angeles. Police in Long Beach say the gunman and the victim are dead. Another person injured.
Police say that they got a call just before 2:30 about reports of an active shooter, and officers quickly responded in tactical gear. It appears that the shooter died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Police found that person, a male, inside the building along with another victim who was dead.
Fox affiliate reporter Victoria Spilabate with KTTV. And President Trump's taking aim at the environment again. This time he wants to rewrite or kill some rules for offshore oil and gas drilling. The administration says the rules imposed after the 2010 rig explosion and massive oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico should be rolled back to encourage energy production. Environmentalists call the proposal a recipe for disaster. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Information.
Investigators say the fire that killed 12 people in New York City yesterday was started by a 3-year-old boy playing with his family's stove. Residents still reeling from the loss.
I'm shocked. I'm just numb right now. I haven't grieved yet.
Fernando Batiz's sister Maria Batiz and her granddaughter, not even 1 year old, are among the dozen killed by the ferocious fire. The 58-year-old grandmother and baby girl were trapped in their third-floor apartment and reportedly found in the bathtub. 3 other children and 7 other adults were killed in the fire, and 28-year-old Emmanuel Mensah, a U.S. Army soldier home for the holidays, died as he tried to help others get out.
Fox affiliate reporter Stacey Delicat with WNYW. The State Department releases a batch of emails gleaned from a laptop connected to Hillary Clinton. That laptop was shared between Clinton aide Uma Abedin and her husband, Anthony Weiner.
Remember, the existence of those emails led then FBI Director James Comey to reopen the Clinton server probe near the end of the 2016 election. Breaking tonight, we're learning there were several emails on the Weiner laptop that he shared with Abedin that had classified information. At least one of those documents sent from the laptop to Clinton while she was Secretary of State in 2012, and it had the label, quote unquote, classified.
Fox's Ed Henry and a Detroit Pistons player denies sexual allegations charges.
Avery Bradley denied any wrongful conduct after a woman claimed she was violated by the Pistons shooting guard in May in Cleveland during the Eastern Conference Finals between the Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics. The victim alleges that Bradley sexually assaulted her while she was passed out drunk, later reaching out to Bradley with the accusation. The two sides reportedly coming together to work out a deal and enter a confidentiality agreement, something that the NBA player's attorney notes took place but was only put in place to protect Bradley's reputation. The accusations of sexual assault are not true. Matt Napolitano, Fox News.
And I'm Carmen Roberts, Fox News Radio.
Since 1948, Fate magazine has delivered a one-of-a-kind reading experience covering everything from psychics, UFOs, paranormal investigations, and more. To subscribe, visit fatemag.com or call 828-702-3032. That's 828-702-3032. Subscribe and find your true reports of the strange and unknown at fatemag.com.
Haunted, a psychic story by author and radio host Ariel Grace. This is not your average book of hauntings. Haunted, a psychic story is written from a psychic perspective and contains true stories and some handy tips. Written in 3 parts, Haunted, a Psychic Story contains chilling adventures, advice from the archangels, and helpful tips used by Ariel Grace to clear haunted homes around the globe. Haunted, a Psychic Story is available on Amazon, or you can download straight to your Kindle. Haunted, a Psychic Story by Ariel Grace. Get your copy today. WGOG-DB Clearwater. Let's talk.
Top of the hour, and you are listening to Fate Radio live on letstalkradio.net and fatemagradio.com. Join us in chat. The questions are already flying in. It's like they've been waiting in the winds, Janice. They are flying in here. Now, join us in chat. You can post your questions in there, of course, on Twitter at FateMagRadio or at WGOGDB. Either one of those areas, like you guys are doing now. Just go ahead and keep posting away. We'll get to them as soon as possible. In the order received, that's the way we do it here. Of course, callers, what they do they get first dibs on the question. It's amazing. Now, when you do call into the program, I'll give you the number here in just a moment. That's also going to be posted in the chat room there on either one of the websites. Just click on the live chat bubble. You can go in. It's all social media friendly. And the number's going to be posted in there for you as well. You can also post your question. Make sure you do so in all capital letters so we can get that served here quicker. It's easier to see when it's all capital letters in the chat like that. Now, we're speaking with Janice Carlson, of course, and she's given us 2018 predictions. If you missed the first hour, everything's being archived for you, and we'll have that up about 30 minutes after the live broadcast. It is an archive. It is not a podcast. So when you hear the archive, it's like hearing it for the first time. Everything is intact and right there just like it was live, and you guys love that. And I love you for loving that because that is old school. And we love old school here at Fate Radio. That's kind of the way it rolls. Now, the number to call, the lines are open. If you do wish to call in for your reading, you can do so at 727-266-5962. That's 727-266-5962. And go ahead and call in. And when you do call in, make sure your players are muted, okay? If not, we're going to get a little feedback loop, and Janice and I are going to hear Janice and I, then Janice and I repeating itself. So make sure your players are muted. And welcome back, Janice.
Thanks.
Now, while we're waiting for the callers to trickle in here, my goodness, boy, we've got some questions for you. Well, we're going to put that on hold. What we're going to do is take the caller here.
Okay.
Okay. And a caller, you're live on Fate Radio. Where are you calling from?
Chicago.
Chicago. And did you have a question for Janice about 2018, a prediction for you?
Yeah, I'd just like to know what's going on with me.
Okay. So she wants, what she's asking, she wants to know what's going on with you, Janice. If you can't hear her clear enough like that, sometimes it gets a little spotty.
Yeah, it was breaking up a little. So repeat her question, if you would.
Her name is Megan. She's calling from Chicago, and she wants to know what's going on with her in 2018.
Well, I want to tell Megan to take good care of her throat and her health. She may be prone, for some reason in this year, to catching more viruses that start with a sore throat. And so that may be kind of a bad situation to be in if you're in a job where you've got to talk a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That's the primary thing that I'm seeing for you, is just be sure you don't try not to catch everything that comes by somehow. Like one of the things I do is I take some cold preventatives once in a while. And so you might want to do that just to make sure you're not catching a lot of throat stuff.
So basically what she's telling you, Megan, is eat your Wheaties.
Yeah.
Stay healthy.
Take your vitamins and maybe a little Airborne too. I've found that Airborne's really helpful if I feel like I'm coming down with something. Also, I'm getting very strong voice vibes from you, and I just want you to know that if you're thinking about moving into a management position, it would help you to move up the ladder at work if you lower your voice a little, like a lower octave kind of a thing, just a little bit more to demand. It just would give you more of a sense of authority, and others more of a sense of authority with you.
Ooh, great advice.
Okay.
There you go. 2018 looks pretty good for you, Meg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for calling on.
Yeah.
All right, there's 2018 for Megan. Wow, we're off to a good start here. And the callers are trickling in here. Let's see if we can grab a quick question here while we're waiting on the next. My goodness. Well, I hope you ate your Wheaties this morning, Janice. We have quite a bit here.
Okay.
Sandy is asking here via Twitter. She wants to know if she should move to New Orleans for work in 2018.
I can really feel her, kind of that hangman feeling with her a little bit, that there's pros and cons. But it's looking to me like it would actually be a better match for her than she thinks it will be.
Okay, so it's going to be a better match.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Good.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and we have our next caller on the line here. Caller, you're live on Fate Radio. Where are you calling from?
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. And did you have a question about 2018 for Janice?
Oh, I did. What does she see in store?
And your first name again?
My first name is Debbie.
Okay. Debbie, I think that you may have had some self-doubts in the past, but I'm seeing that the need for self-doubt is not there anymore. I'm seeing that you're able to move forward without doubting yourself.
Uh-huh.
And I'm guessing that's career-wise.
Yeah, it's been a struggle.
Yeah. So just understand that some of the struggles you've had in the past really are behind you. And
that'd be good.
You're coming to the workplace or your career-wise, you're coming to a place where you are, you've got a lot of wisdom that you've accumulated and a lot of smarts about how to deal with people.
Mm-hmm.
And
I hope so, because right now I'm unemployed, so okay. I'm hoping these things change, you know?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just understand that something is waiting for you. I don't think it'll be long into 2018 before you find another position, and a lot of it will have to do with your ability to read people and ultimately to manage them.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, that sounds good.
Right. Well, 2018 looks pretty good for you, Debbie. Hang in there.
I certainly will, Todd.
All right.
I will hang in there. Okay.
Great to hear from you.
You have a good night, and thank you again for the reading.
Oh, you're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Happy New Year, Debbie.
Bye.
Oh, wow. Okay. So far, this is some great advice, and 2018 hopefully is going to be a big turn for a lot of people out there, career-wise. Careers seem to be the big question. Careers, money, love, all these things are probably going to come at you tonight, Janice. And I know you were prepared for them. But if anybody wants to call in, of course, the lines are open. And again, that number is being posted in the chat room at letstalkradio.net and fatemagradio.com. You can call in live 727-266-5962, 727-266-5962. And just keep these questions to 2018 predictions, of course. No medium work tonight, no lost loved ones, things of that nature. These are predictions. This is a prediction show, and that's what this is all about. So, of course, we've limited Janice to doing only predictions for that reason. Yeah, blame it on us. That's how we like it here. And we've got this question came in. This came in through Facebook here for you, Janice. Theo wants to know if Chris is going to marry him next year. Let's just get to the point.
Gosh, yeah. I don't see marriage so much as I see engagement or moving in together.
Okay.
Certainly the relationship will get closer in 2018.
So it's going to get closer, but they're not definitely going to tie the knot, which is good. Because sometimes, sometimes patience is key with that. You have to, and I don't know. For me, I think you have to live with somebody a while first before you kind of jump in with both feet. What if they're a complete slob, Janice, and you're oh my goodness, here we are married now?
Yeah, exactly. And patience is really one of the watchwords this year. Slowing down and patience is a really big watchword this year. We all have to kind of remember that we don't have to become red zone dogs. We don't have to become biting, growling, nasty. That we can kind of check out the situation with our gut, and that's sufficient. And I think if you do that, it helps a lot. Other people don't feel quite so threatened either.
Good advice. Great advice. And this one came in from chat here. Let's see. Solana wants to know if her book is going to be a bestseller in 2018?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, this is a terrific year for writers. And I don't know that I'd necessarily call it a national bestseller, but it's certainly going to make it looks like it's going to make some lists of some kind. If she's self-publishing, then I would see certainly those standards for publishing being met as a bestseller. It's defined differently depending on, if you're self-publishing or going with a conventional publisher. But it's a very thoughtful book, and it's also a book that looks at a lot of different places in a way. I don't know that it's a travel log necessarily, but it's certainly someone who likes to travel and is kind of worldly in their views.
Okay. All right. And let's see. We got a break.
Well, when I was saying about it selling well, I mean, Soul Sensing has finally, as an independently published book, finally last month became a bestseller. And that was 4 years after its publication. So these things can be really surprising.
And that's great advice. Now, what you said, your book, it's independent, and it took 4 years until you seeded it and found a way to be comfortable with its sales and its notoriety out there. Okay, so patience.
Yes.
Again, patience. That's a great example of it. Well, congratulations there, because it's tough. It's a tough world.
A lot of that's word of mouth and getting smarter about promo and a variety of things, because a lot of people are self-publishing these days, that's for sure.
Yeah, and it's tough. It's a really hard world out there. It's so saturated. And don't you find that, for example, publishing a book online these days versus one in print, it seems people want everything on their iPads or iPhones or computers even. They want everything digital. No one really wants to hold a book anymore. Do you see that true? Do you see that changing, hopefully?
Well, I am kind of seeing it changing. Certainly audio has started to take a big part of the market, audio versions of books, which I totally get because people spend so much time commuting and stuff. But actually, from my own experience with publishing Soul Sensing, which I did because I just wanted the experience of self-publishing after having so many books published by New York publishers and having no control over cover art or marketing or much of anything. I decided to give that a whirl, and it's taught me so much about promo and word of mouth, and it's a whole different experience. But I have to tell you, that book is sold primarily as a paperback and not as much in version. So, some people can tell you there's a trend that e-books will overtake regular books, but so far, many books aren't performing that way. People actually want to own it. And it could be that Soul Sensing, it's because it's a how to communicate with your dead loved ones. And those are the kind of books people might more likely would want on their shelf that they can go and reference if they think they see a sign of visitation, to go in and check to see, confirm it and that sort of thing. It depends on the nature of the book, but I'm still seeing a lot of actual physical books selling better than the e-book version.
Oh, good for you. Good for you. And that is great, because the hard copy, to me, I like to hold it. I just have to have it in my hands. I can't really get into anything digital when it comes to that. You have to have the physical copy. Just like you said, as a nice reference piece. In a book such as that, closure and reference, just the tools and knowledge. And, of course, we're going to talk more about that here in just a little while. There's a lot of great things coming up here. More of your questions coming in, more 2018 predictions. It's all packed right here. Fate Radio Live, letstalkradio.net, and, of course, fatemagradio.com. Join us in chat. Log in, Facebook, Twitter, as a guest. More when we come back. Stay tuned.
For station identification. It's the little cinder block building on the north side of town with the towel behind it. WGOG DB Clearwater. Let's talk. The Haunted Voices series by author Claire Jam. Not your average romance novels, the Haunted Voices series intertwines romance with ghost stories. Like an addiction counselor and a security guard struggle to free a little girl and her father. Two lost spirits trapped inside an abandoned mental hospital in Spirits of the Heart. Want more? Then read about a hunky professor in a tweed jacket, a cheeky goth chick, and a pipe-smoking book-hurling ghost. Put them all together in an antiquated library and, well, you get the book Phantom Traces. Or read about a psychic interior designer who reluctantly agrees to renovate a sexy investor's abandoned hotel in Hearts Unlocked, winner of the 2016 New York Book Festival. The Haunted Voices series by Claire Jam. Buy wherever books are sold or purchase at clairegem.com. There are thousands of health and beauty products on the market these days, but how many can you say are truly natural? The name says it all. And Naturally by Darla is here to humbly serve, guide, and help to heal all individuals seeking a more natural way of living. NaturallyByDarla.com provides a wide variety of products and services like essential oils, soaps, balms and salves, powerful mists, and ancient healing techniques. Curious yet? We thought so, and invite you to visit our website, naturallybydarla.com, or call 847-334-1580. That's 847-334-1580. Naturallybydarla.com. Humbly serving for over 10 years. Naturally. Nothing feels better than a good cleanse to wash away the day. If you think that refreshes you, then experience the ultimate cleanse with Soaps by Susan. Cleansing Spiritually LLC uses only pharmaceutical-grade essential oils, all-natural shea butter, coconut oils, and vitamin E, and tailored toward the ultimate cleanse. Susan uses a skin-safe fragrance with an aroma that brings a smile to your face and takes you to that happy place within. Each bar is handcrafted and custom to order, so it not only cleanses the soul, but also matches your room's decor. Cleansing Spiritually soap makes great gifts, or you can just indulge yourself for a spiritual cleansing you'll never forget. You want some now, don't you? We thought so. Contact Susan Todd to place your custom order at facebook.com/spiritually. Don't settle for clean. Get spiritually clean at facebook.com/spiritually. Real people and not pre-recorded and regurgitated radio. WGOG DB Clearwater. Let's talk. "23 minutes past the hour. Todd Bates here with Fate Radio live on Let's Talk Radio, letstalkradio.net, and FateMagRadio.com. Whichever medium you're listening from, we definitely welcome you to the program. We're speaking with none other than Janice Carlson this evening. Oh, my goodness. The predictions, the first hour, if you guys missed them, I know you're just coming in here. It's a Friday night. You guys are out there having some pre-New Year fun, perhaps. Don't worry, we've got you covered. A little while after the show, you'll be able to listen to the broadcast right there on our iHeart Radio channel, iTunes, Google Play Music, and right there on Spreaker as well. iHeart and Spreaker, brought to you by Kat Hobson, Paranormal Experienced. And you can listen to those right there on either FateMagRadio.com or Let'sTalkRadio.net. You'll find all those links to those mediums right there where you can listen to the archive. And we're taking your calls as well. Lines are open at this time. You can call us at 727-266-5962, 727-266-5962.
And you can also post your question right there in the live chat room. Just click on the live chat bubble. You'll see it right there when you go to either one of the websites. Log in through Facebook, Twitter as a guest. Post a question in all capital letters and keep it to the 2018 predictions. We've kind of limited Janice because that's what this is. It's a prediction show. So that's what she's going to do is predict what's coming up for you in the amazing year to come, 2018. A lot of great information was spoke the first hour as well about some predictions in last year, and it makes a lot of sense. So you definitely want to catch the archive. And welcome back, Janice. And the questions are just trickling in here. Well, I should say they're flooding.
Good.
They are.
This is the time.
This is definitely the time to do it. They are flooding in here. And like I said, the lines are open. We've got a caller on the line. Welcome. You're live on Fate Radio. Where are you calling from?
Florida.
Oh, my goodness. Did you have a question for Janice?
Yeah, I did. I have 2 book series that I'm working on. That I have been working on. One of them is called Lucy Prophet Psychic Girl, and the other one is called a Psychic Story Series. Which set of books should I focus on?
Is one for children more than the other, or what age group would you say they are?
They're for everybody. They're not just for children, but I am going to be writing a Psychic Kids book for the Psychic Story Series.
Yeah, I see that coming down the pike, too. But I have to say, I think it's probably the Lucy ones that'll be
really
better
Lucy
for you. Yeah.
All right. Cool.
You
well,
seem
I
to
love
resonate with that a lot.
Yep, I do. Okay. Well, because that's I was debating on how much energy I should put into Lucy Prophet.
And are you planning to self-publish, or are you planning to take it to a conventional publisher?
They're both series are self-published. They're already,
Okay.
I've already started both series, and so they're on Amazon. They're Kindle and paperback books. So we're going to be going out I'm planning a book tour right now to go out and sell them, sign them and sell them.
And don't forget about getting the early reviews, on them, and also, approaching libraries with them, with postcard mailings and things to libraries are very important.
Oh, good idea.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good idea. I have been thinking about doing libraries, so I was trying to figure out how. So, yeah. All right, cool. Yeah, libraries. That would be really good.
The book that I leaned on heavily, and for good reason, is one by Peter Bowerman that's called The Well-Fed Self-Publisher. And that is a book you really should be using as kind of a guidebook through the process.
Okay. All right, that sounds good. I'll look
Every
it up.
aspect, including promoting to libraries, is in there. So.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. He's the one who said, "Hey, Janice, you need to be doing radio interviews and radio work and podcasts." And I took his advice, and I think this is my 32nd radio.
Good for you.
So
That's awesome.
He makes it easy. He's a marketing man, and he does really make it easy with his how-to books.
Okay, well, I'm going to look up that book then.
Yep, absolutely. Yep, and again, the Lucy stuff is the stuff that's going to make people kind of smile and be amused, too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's pretty amusing.
Now you know what to work on in 2018. That's pretty amazing. 2018 looks pretty good for you then.
Yeah.
Yay, thank you. All right, thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, yeah, and a lot of creativity. Again, another writer.
Good year. A good year for writers and artists. Absolutely.
Okay, what we have here, Shelley has a question for you in chat. Oh my goodness, you're going to love this one, Janice. Shelley is asking, Am I going to have a breakthrough invention this year?
Well, let me scan my brain here. Yeah. Yes. What I'm seeing for Shelley is almost an ability to do things that look almost like magic to people. And it's amazing. Some of the stuff she's come up with and will come up with it will look, again, the only thing I can say, it doesn't make any sense maybe now to her, but it will later, that it will look sort of like, whoa, magic a little bit, even though there's, a very scientific property behind the product that she invents.
Nice. And I think if that's the, let's see, Shelley Robertson, that is, you're right, scientific. She's a paranormal investigator, so it's going to be something probably in the lines of that.
Yes, and often paranormal stuff can look like magic because we're dealing on the subatomic level, which I discuss quite a bit in Soul Sensing, talking about what form the dead take. It appears to be subatomic matter, and that obeys a different set of scientific laws than the normal physical world does. So it can look like magic to people when a spirit walks through a wall or appears and disappears, that type of thing.
Yeah, because I think that's one of the biggest illusions of all is seeing something like that, because you kind of question yourself. Did I see that, or do I just need to take some medication? You kind of question your own sanity when you see something like that.
Yeah.
It is. It's very magical.
Exactly.
Okay, and then what we have here, Larry, let's see, Twitter. Larry wants to know if his house will sell quickly in 2018.
Well, the feeling I'm getting is that Larry is not quite to the point where the house is on the market. Like there's something still in the staging level of this, or that taking it off the market, changing the price, putting it back on. There's something along those lines happening. But I do see low offers coming in, and it'll just sort of depend on whether or not he wants to do some of the work that he'd have to do in order to get a higher price for the house.
Okay. Hang in there, Larry. Hang in there.
Yeah. Know that it is saleable, but you may want to do a little bit more to it in order to get the price you want.
Yeah, maybe doors, windows, something that usually increases the value, something like that.
Yeah.
And, you've got 2018 to do it in, so hang in there with that, Larry. It's a tough market out there, but just hang in there with it. And let's see here. Christina. Oh, this is nice. She wants to know if she's going to go to Paris in 2020.
Yep. Yeah. It's amazing because what flashed immediately was Notre Dame for me, and that's Paris, so that image just popped into my head immediately. And that particular site will have a lot of meaning for her. I know the French often say sacré bleu, which is a swear word, but it means sacred blue, and it actually refers back to the fact that the Virgin Mary is often depicted in blue, in a blue robe or whatever. Right. And so there's something about Notre Dame that will be quite sacred for her. She'll have a kind of a spiritual experience in that setting.
Oh, wow. So now not only is she going to go to Paris in 2020, but she's going to have a really spiritual experience at Notre Dame.
It looks like that's what's going to happen, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can't even imagine visiting. Oh, gorgeous.
Yeah. Yes. Stunning.
Okay. My goodness. I am trying to get through these. Just bear with me here, folks. If we don't get to everybody, don't worry, because we have some more questions. We've got some more predictions coming up here. I mean, it's a prediction show, and you guys are doing great, and thank you for your patience. And those of you that do want to call in, the lines are open, 727-266-5962, 727-266-5962. And just make sure your player's muted when you call. And it looks like another Shelley from Facebook wants to know if her television program will be picked up by a network. That's a big question in 2018.
I think there'll actually be one offer that comes, and it's not the right one. There'll be just a feeling that this isn't quite the right match somehow. And she should listen very carefully to the people who want to buy it, to make sure that they're not going to change it so much that she just won't recognize it anymore. And then I see another offer coming after that where she will say, yeah, I think I was better off taking the second offer that came.
Okay, so learn from the first offer. Maybe some shenanigans involved there, but the second offer is going to be a little better, basically, is what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah, and it could be even that she will negotiate with them where she retains creative control and is able to say, no, you're not doing that with this. You got to take it as is and trust me on this, or we're not doing it. It depends on how aggressive she and her agent are about it, but it's certainly worth fighting for creative control and some artistic feedback on it.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, with the networks, it is tough. It is very tough to create a pilot, put a bunch of money into the pilot, and then try to sell it to the different networks. And then, like you said, they'll take it and they'll completely manipulate it. They'll change it to where it's nothing that you even, that was even written, nothing that you imagined. You just sign off on it.
Very, very common practice,
It's not always about the money.
You need to listen very carefully in those meetings to make sure that you're going to recognize it when it comes out the other end, on the production end.
Okay, so she just definitely, in 2018, she just needs to focus on that and watch the offers coming in, pay attention, maybe educate herself a little bit as well when it comes to those. That could be tricky.
Yeah, and as she already knows, probably everybody's very hungry for good content on TV with all the cable stations and so forth. So she may have a little bit more room for negotiation than she thinks.
Good. All right. And we've got one here from Twitter. Maggie wants to know if her radio show is going to be popular. Okay. She's got a radio show coming up in 2018, I guess.
Well, these are really talented, ambitious people calling in here, aren't they? My goodness.
These are the questions lined up right there.
Yeah.
Twitter, Facebook, and creativity. Maybe you spark something.
It's because it is. We really are on the precipice of a year that's going to be good to artists and writers and stuff. Yes, I think she needs to persist long enough to really get a feeling for it. And I'm seeing the number 10 in regard to how many episodes she needs to create before she really gets a feeling for or a sense of a following.
Okay.
And an audience.
10. And 10's a good number.
Yeah.
I mean, like you, with your book, I was independent. Let's see, I've been broadcasting over a decade, like a decade and a half almost. And around the same time for me, too, with that, Janice. It took about, I'd say, 3-4 years before I was comfortable and kind of develop that. So it must be a standard. So, yeah, I mean, my advice, hang in there, Maggie. Definitely have a lot of patience with it because it's a lot of work, but it's also a lot of fun. And then finally, what I have here for you, the last one on my list is from Jessica off of Facebook. Wants to know, now she is in California, it says here, and she wants to know if she should move, my goodness, here to Florida.
I'm laughing because we were talking about the southeastern United States taking a bit of a beating in the coming year, likely because of weather. That's a difficult question to answer because there's pros and cons with staying where she is. And then there's the part of her that I think is just going to like the climate better in Florida. I'm getting a sense that she was put off by the fires that took place out in California, and unfortunately I think we're going to see more of the same in the coming year.
Yikes.
And I think given the choice between the two, she's likely to go with Florida in the end. I just think the climate might be more suited to her.
Yeah, because it's a completely different... I've been there a couple times. It's really dry. It's very desert-ish.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
It's really dry. And maybe because that's a big move, Janice. I mean,
it is, yeah. But she is going to find the economy easier to handle, because you've got to have quite a bit of money usually to live in certainly the LA area, and she may just find that the pace is a little bit more to her liking too in Florida.
Okay. Well, thank you for answering all those. My goodness, those came in like a flood.
Yeah.
That was great.
Well, good for them. And none of them are slouches, I'll tell you. They're working on screenplays or whatever, working on TV series and radio shows. And wow.
I like that. I like that. You know, it wasn't people sitting back with their feet propped up saying, hey, when am I going to be rich? It wasn't anything like that.
Am I going to win the lottery?
Oh,
they're creating their own lotteries, which is really nice to see.
I'm surprised we didn't hear any of that tonight. Am I going to win the lottery in 2018?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But you're actually much more likely to succeed with something of your own doing and making than you are with the lottery. So good for them.
Yeah, I'd agree with that too. Definitely. I mean, you reap what you sow. That's the way I see it.
Yes. Yes.
And, we've got a couple minutes here to break, and then we've got just a short amount of time with you. What about a couple more 2018 predictions that you may see coming up here? I mean, the new year is right around the corner, Janice. Is there anything in particular that just really stands out to you that you want to stress?
Nothing's really popping at me right now. Maybe if you asked about a particular area, a particular subject matter, I'd get
all right.
more.
Two things I want to know about myself personally is, number one, the economy. Is it going to flow better? Are we going to be happier that way? Is it going to be I hate using this term, I'll use it loosely, a wealthier year for the country or world for that matter? And number two, the unemployment. Another big thing.
Unemployment right now is kind of low, isn't it, percentage-wise?
It's lower. It's lower, yeah.
Lower. Well, anyone who's unemployed right now, please take comfort in the fact that this is a year that's about work, and so it's unlikely that you'll be unemployed for very long. The other thing is we did have a good year in the stock market. Really, it was quite a good year for the stock market in 2017. But something is changing in regard to the kinds of jobs that are going to be out there. You can say there's a low unemployment rate, but if every job that's out there is horrible, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I think you know what I mean. Where you're doing a whole lot of service-related, very low-end stuff, whether you're talking about restaurants or waiting staff or retail clerking and on your feet for 8 hours a day and so forth and so on. Some of those are really not very happy positions for people. And I think that overall the country's going to have such trouble continuing to fill those positions that either we're going to have to see wages go up or working conditions will have to become a lot more negotiable.
I like that. That'd be a good change. I mean, it really would compared to what it is. I mean, people would feel more appreciated. And that's one of the things that I've definitely noticed with employment now compared to back when is people don't appreciate their jobs like they used to, and employers don't appreciate their employees like they used to.
Right.
And those are things that definitely need to change. And hopefully 2018 is a little wake-up call for them.
Yeah, I think that there's just going to be so many open positions and so few people willing to take them that something will have to shift here in regard to both working conditions and probably wages. We have admittedly changed to being a service economy rather than a production economy in this country, but, you don't need to run these facilities like a women's prison, you know what I mean? And I just think people will understand that. Maybe these employers will be focusing more on retention of employees because it takes a while to train people to do things. And sitting down with an employee and asking what would work for you here. Are you someone who really would prefer just 4-hour shifts to an 8-hour shift, and that kind of thing can really make all the difference in retaining an employee.
Phenomenal advice. And on that note, we're going to take our final break of the program. We come back. We have just a few minutes left with Janice. So get your final questions, comments in there, or just sit back and listen because I'm going to ask her a few questions when we come back. Fate Radio Live. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. We'll be right back after these important announcements. Trust me, it's worth the wait. We know you like listening to our live programs, but did you know the station had a chat room? Chatting is a great way to meet new people and share ideas, in addition to interacting with the program hosts. Entering the live chat room is simple. You can log in through Facebook, Twitter, as a guest. Don't forget to try our new registration feature and never miss another post. Some chat features include free audio and video chats with other chatters, upload files from your computer or smartphone, or just chat from your smartphone or tablet while listening to your favorite programs. WGOG DB Station Chat Room. Don't just listen to the live show, be a part of it. Links can be found on all station websites or Facebook fan pages. See you there. Haunted, a psychic story by author and radio host Ariel Grace. This is not your average book of hauntings. Haunted, a psychic story is written from a psychic perspective and contains true stories and some handy tips. Written in 3 parts, Haunted, a Psychic Story contains chilling adventures, advice from the archangels, and helpful tips used by Ariel Grace to clear haunted homes around the globe. Haunted, a Psychic Story is available on Amazon, or you can download straight to your Kindle. Haunted, a Psychic Story by Ariel Grace. Get your copy today. Talk is our business, and business is good. WGOG Clearwater. Let's talk.
.47 minutes past the hour. Fate Radio Live, letstalkradio.net, fatemagradio.com. Todd Bates here. My goodness, what an amazing program we've had with our guest, Janice Carlson. I want to remind you, next week, January the 5th, the new year, the first show of the year of Fate Radio is actually going to be a broadcast of this show. How better fitting is that? Yes. It's going to be a rebroadcast of this program right here. Those of you listening to it, I know you're going to want to hear it again because everybody loves to hear themselves on the radio, and you're going to hear that next week. 9 Eastern, 8 Central. Remember, Fate Radio moved to a new time. Friday nights, 9 Eastern, 8 Central, 6 Pacific. And be sure and check out all the other programs here on the station as well. Sunday nights, 8 Eastern, you've got a Gang of Girls Radio with host Ariel Grace. Monday nights, you have Surviving Evidence at 8 Eastern with Krista Cesare, Phil Casey. Tuesday nights, you have got none other than Keeping the Spirits Alive with your host, John Tobin, and followed by Haunted Voices Radio. Phil Roll and myself host that program, 9 Eastern, 8 Central. And on Wednesday nights, the one and only lovely, talented Kat Hobson hosts Paranormal Experienced Radio, 8 Eastern, 7 Central. All of those programs will resume normal live programming starting January 2nd. January 2nd. Good stuff coming up here. And we have just a little while longer here with Janice, and there's so many things that we covered tonight. And again, you can catch all of those on the rebroadcast there, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Google Play Music, on either one of the websites. And Janice, this program just flew by. My goodness.
It sure did, yeah.
Time definitely flies here. And getting into a little bit more about yourself before I kind of turn the mic over here to you, I got one question. What is the difference between a haunted site and a sacred one? I'm very, very curious about that.
Well, both are spiritual. Both are dealing with spirits and spiritual. But sacred ones tend to be things like, say Gettysburg, or even something you wouldn't consider haunted. There's a Normandy Invasion Museum that just opened. It's like an outdoor museum in Pennsylvania, or I guess it's Virginia, and we were visiting it this year, my husband and I, and that was amazing because even though you're over here, it just captures the beaches of Normandy and in this beautiful tribute, and so I would call that sacred. Because it's not strictly haunted, but it's certainly about the memory of those spirits that fought that battle on D-Day. And so I do both in the books that I'm writing now, which are more like kind of haunted travelogues. I enjoy going to places that are kind of, I'd have to just say they're sacred in part because they're so historical.
And, that's what we want to do here now is give you some time you've been helping everybody else here the past couple hours. Now I'm going to force you to help yourself here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the mic over to you, and I want you to let everybody know about your books, websites, anything you have coming up here, and of course your final thoughts on 2018. Go ahead. The mic is yours. Go ahead, Janice.
Okay, thanks, Todd. Well, the one thing that I think that people would enjoy doing, and it's free of charge, is signing up for my newsletter on my website, which is www.janicecarlson. That's JANICE, and then Carlson, CARLSON.com. And just sign up for the free newsletter. You can always unsubscribe at any time. And but the reason why I say that is because so many of my clients through the years have signed up for it and told me how much they've enjoyed parts of my travel logs when I'm out doing my haunted places traveling, and the different things that I write about that help you with day-to-day life stuff. And certainly you'll see my predictions in there for 2018 in the January issue. But that would be a fun, easy thing to do, and you'd enjoy it. Most people really enjoy those newsletters. Soul Sensing you can get at Amazon.com and anytime, and it's called Soul Sensing, How to Communicate with Your Dead Loved Ones. And it does a lot of things for you. It is a how-to book, but it helps you recognize the signs of being visited and being talked to, communicated with by your dead loved ones and pets. They're usually trying very hard to get through to you, and it's those times when we write things off as coincidences or it was just my imagination or whatever that we miss out on this really sacred gift that we're getting from deceased loved ones. They're trying to tell you that they made it safely to the other side, and that they're not suffering anymore, and that they do want to communicate with you, and that they're continuing to watch what happens in your life. And so a lot of my sessions are me telling a client what's happened in the last week, because their deceased loved ones are watching, and they know a lot about what you're reading, what movies you're going to, what foods you're eating. It's just really stunning how closely they watch us and how much they care about us from the other side. So those are the two things that I'd really recommend in regard to my work. And certainly I do medium readings for people by phone. I do a money-back guarantee, and I'm one of the few that does in this country. And I do that because I just want to make sure that you can identify information I'm bringing through before we get too far into the session. And that you don't have to pay for a session if you're not feeling like we're really making connections with the loved one. I said earlier I lost 2 parents by the time I was 10, so I'm especially sympathetic to grief and how to assuage grief by reopening our communications with the people we thought we had lost.
Wow. Amazing. It has been such a pleasure to have you. We're definitely going to have you back. You're just such a talented woman. Just amazing what you've done for everyone tonight, and busy as well. So we're definitely going to keep in touch and have you back here on the show here as soon as possible. And you, Janice, of all people, need to have a Happy New Year. So definitely Happy New Year to you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. And I know it's going to be a good, busy year for people, and especially in the work area, it's going to be quite profitable and productive.
Well, you've made a lot of people happy tonight already, so that's a great end to this year and a great beginning to the next. So thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to come on here tonight. And you have a great New Year, Janice.
Same to you, Todd. Take care and happy 2018.
Thank you. You too. Janice Carlson, everybody. Be sure to check out her website, JaniceCarlson.com. That's JaniceCarlson.com. And what I love about this, the 2018 predictions continues. Next week, Fate Radio is just going to replay this episode because I'm going to be at Fate Magazine headquarters there in North Carolina. Now, we're going to replay this episode, so those of you that missed the full episode, you can listen to it then, or of course, catch it on the archives here in just a little while. We'll have it up there on iHeart, iTunes, and Google Play Music. All that you can find right there at letstalkradio.net or fatemagradio.com. You choose either way as long as you listen. And be sure and check out the latest station schedule while you're there on the station website. And each and every one of you have a great Happy New Year, a safe Happy New Year as well. From all of us here at Fate Radio, Happy New Year. Have a good night.